right, so this is going to be another movie review. This one's called The Jerk, 1979. I'm giving it 2 out of 5 stars. I thought it was pretty dumb. It shouldn't be called The Jerk, actually. It should be called The Dimwit, or more precisely, The Dipstick would be more appropriate, because he was working in a gas station with Jackie Mason. There are a lot of big name actors in this one. It's Steve Martin's first starring role in a feature film, and it's considered one of the top 100 comedies of all time. But I just could never get into Steve Martin's brand of humor. I think my uncle forced me to watch one of his movies, thinking he was hilarious. I'll bet you $5 my uncle saw this in the movie theater or the drive-in when it came out. Probably the movie theater, knowing him. I don't think he was much of a drive-in guy back in the late 70s, but I hear they're having a drive-in mass in Las Cruces, New Mexico. I actually talked to my best friend, my dream girl, my son's pseudo godmother, future stepmother, whatever she is. I've known her for 13 years, I think. And my son just started going off on the text messages this morning with his TikTok videos, and I couldn't connect to them because I got no reception. I don't feel like hooking up my phone to Wi-Fi, especially with all the crazy coronavirus. What do you call it? The surveillance that they're threatening to do nowadays. But and he watches that stuff on YouTube about the dangers of Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. That's another one. I hope they don't track my phone, that I'm coming within 6 feet of a coronavirus victim or some Orwellian nightmare. Things to come that even Brave New World guy never dreamed of. Anyways, I'll get to that later. I'm going to talk about the face mask fiasco that happened yesterday. You're going to get a kick out of that. And today also. Actually, we were waiting in line, and my son and I were the only ones who weren't wearing the face mask. So we got.
Other people not wearing the face mask.
Oh, really? You saw some people inside? I'm talking about the people waiting in line, though. Yeah. So I'll get into that later. This lady just screeches up into her car. You won't believe the story I have. Every day is an adventure at Safeway. Let me just put it to you that way. That's why I like bringing my son, because I can show him firsthand how authoritarian people behave. Just go to Safeway, and it's like a lesson in authoritarianism right there. But I'll get to that later. Weird sheeple screeching up in the parking lot to me at Safeway. Anyways, getting back to the movie. Okay, so Steve Martin was adopted by a bunch of black African American sharecroppers in Mississippi in the they're like hillbillies up there playing some old ragtime music, but Steve Martin, when he hears the music that they're playing out on the porch, he can't dance in rhythm because he's white, presumably. Can you imagine these 70 movies being made today? They'd be like protested out of existence for being politically incorrect or racially insensitive. But that's not the reason why that's not one of the good points of this movie, in my opinion. I just thought the whole thing was dumb and kind of goofy and not funny. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of I mentioned this in my previous video. I'm not a big fan of any of this Saturday Night Live comedians. My former coworker, the gal that I used to share my Netflix queue with, the one that I thought was going to be my friend forever, but it ended up being my other friend. So the one that I've had for 13 years over there in Renton, Washington. But anyways, she tried to force me to watch like Tim Farrell, what was that other, Tina Fey, I think her name was. Those kind of people, the more modern SNL comedians, and yeah, Tim Farrell was all right with his cowbell. That was kind of amusing, but the other comedians, I can take it or leave it. Tina Fey and her Simma Down, not real funny to me, but anyways, getting back to the movie. So I'm getting distracted easily today. I drank the red line, so forgive me if I'm straying off the beaten path, but okay. So after Steve Martin hears some kind of groovy song on the radio. It's not really groovy, but it's like big band music or something. I'm not quite sure, but he likes it, and he likes it so much that he wants to go to St. Louis, where the radio station is located, to disembark from his family and go out on his own, which I'm worried that my son will do when he turns 18. But it's a natural instinct. I did it when I was in my early 20s, so I can understand where they're coming from. But it's natural to want to be independent and to fall on your face, which is what Steve Martin does. He works at a gas station with Jackie Mason. Jackie Mason is normally a funny guy. The guy who says you're a schmuck. That guy, the guy with the Jewish guy with the Brooklyn accent. He's running the gas station. He says, "Send me a postcard if you ever become rich and famous." So he does. He invents this eyeglass thing that kind of protrudes down on the nose, so it balances better, and you don't have to bend the earpieces. You can just put it on by using the nose clip thing, and so he makes a fortune off of it. He goes in half with this inventor guy, and he moves to Los Angeles, gets this huge mansion. He's throwing wild disco parties and stuff, and spending all this dough. And along the way, he before that he was working the carnival, and he was getting intimate with the carny. lady, the motorcycle rider who jumps through fire like Evil Knievel, the female version of Evil Knievel. Then he's driving around a little choo-choo train for the kids, which is what I used to take him for in the San Mateo Park. When he was in preschool, and my mom used to take me there too. But he's riding the choo-choo train. Bernadette Peters is babysitting this kid with a BS t-shirt. And Steve Martin asks her out, and they start falling in love, and no, I think he licks her face or something like that. Something weird.
It's coronavirus right now.
No, this is back in 1979 after the swine flu. It was supposed to be a joke. It wasn't very funny, but like I said, I'm not a big Steve Martin fan to begin with. I've never seen The Man with Two Brains, Three Amigos, Roxanne, or Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid. I don't think I've ever seen that one. I may have, but LA Story I haven't seen. So, like I said, my uncle's more into Steve Martin. And, anyways, getting back to the movie, so Bernadette Peters is dating Steve Martin. They're getting along fine. They sing a ukulele horn song. I forget the name of it, but it's on the bonus features. The bonus features has ukulele instruction, which is what my son took at the library with the good-looking Asian lady that tried to brush me off. But yeah, it was Belmont Library. Anyways, it's close to his mother's house where he lives still. Hopefully for not long. But Emmet, the reason I got this movie was because Emmet Walsh was played the madman, and going through my Emmet Walsh section of my Netflix queue. So when he's working at the gas station, Emmet Walsh picks his name in the phone book, and he's all proud that he got his name in the phone book, that he got his name published. He thinks he's famous. And sure enough, Emmet Walsh points his finger to Steve Martin's name in the phone book, and he decides he wants to shoot him up with a rifle at the gas station because he's going through divorce and other problems or something. Something's going wrong. And he's using the excuse that he went through divorce to attempt to excuse his bad behavior, but he keeps missing the target, and Steve Martin escapes in the automobile without any wheels. It's just grinding on the wheelless vehicle inside the gas station, Jackie Mason's gas station, and he ends up at the carnival. Okay, so it meets the female version of Evil Knievel. He dates Bernadette Peters, and the female Evil Knievel gets jealous, but Bernadette Peters beats her up. And then all of a sudden he gets rich. He goes to Los Angeles. He gets $250,000, which is a lot of money back in 1979. Nowadays, about the size of my retirement account. Really can't live in the Bay Area without $1 million. So my son can make a lot of money fast if he continues to live here. But nevertheless, getting back to the movie, The Jerk. Okay, so he's got all this money coming in. He buys this huge mansion. He's doing the disco parties, and then the only funny part in this movie, I think I only laughed maybe one time in this movie, not this time, but when Jackie Mason was kind of doing his sarcasm routine, or may have been a different time, but this kind of intrigued me when 10 million people for $1.09 each, they filed this class action suit because they're all cross-eyed. So the director of this movie is cross-eyed. The judge is cross-eyed. Everybody in the jury is cross-eyed. But before that, Steve Martin makes a funny comment, or kind of an interesting comment. This is America, where you can get a free and fair trial. Well, he doesn't, because all of them are cross-eyed, the jury. And so he goes from rags to riches, back to rags again. And the ending was all right, but overall, I thought this movie was way overrated. After all, it gets a whopping 7.2 on IMDb. 7.2 out of 10. And it's considered one of the top 100 comedies of all time, which is probably why I don't like it. It's part of the lamestream. Emmet and Walsh is in a lot of these, like The Jerk, like Free Willy 2, They Venture Home. So, not a great flick. I'm hoping I can get through Emmet Walsh sooner rather than later. But I did find a hidden gem going through Emmet Walsh films, The Haunted Echoes. So I'm kind of grateful that I did go through all of his stuff on Netflix. I'll keep chugging away at it, but let's see what I got coming up. I still haven't watched Daddy-O. I've been kind of working hard. I worked 11 hours last night, and I think 7 hours the previous night, something like that. So been kind of slow getting through these, but yeah, I had to do a bunch of stuff today. Yesterday, I got a face mask from my employer, thinking I had to go at least, follow the new face mask ordinance, even though they're not enforcing it. And I heard some anecdotal kind of thing in New Mexico where the bishop was ordering McDonald's, and the guy didn't have any gloves. The guy in the drive-through didn't have any gloves or mask on. But the cheap face mask that I got from my employer, the little string for the ear broke, so I couldn't use it. And so I explained that to the customer. I think it was the second or third customer I saw in the morning. And she gave me 2 free ones, which actually work quite better. I think I can show you one. Well, maybe not, but started wearing those, and I didn't like it really. It was fogging up my sunglasses, and I didn't want to be part of the sheeple, accepting this coronavirus hoax as some kind of legitimate pandemic. Waiting in line at Safeway for empty shelves, that kind of thing. Like in the old days in Eastern Europe and Soviet Union back in the 70s. But so I did that. I get to Santa Clara County at nighttime. I'm running a couple hours late, maybe an hour and a half late. I get to one of the big apartment complexes in Palo Alto next to Stanford, shopping center, and I go in there, and one of the DoorDash guys gets in for me. He got there first because he parked right in front of the building. I parked on the street, so I'm carrying this huge stack of 4 boxes, and I get inside the building. I follow the DoorDash guy, and the security guard goes, and I go up to the security guard and I say, "Where's the elevator?" That was a big mistake, because the security guard's response was, "Where's your face mask?" I said, "Oh, I left it in the van because Santa Clara County doesn't have a face mask ordinance. It's only the other surrounding counties that have it. But it just so happens on private property they establish their own rules, regardless of the ordinance. And in this apartment complex, you're required to wear a mask." Okay. So I go back, I get my mask. It's taking like 15 minutes to bring these boxes. And then I go in the elevator and I see this sign that says, "Oh, it's great that gas prices are cheap, but we can't go anywhere." So that was kind of funny. And then today we go to Safeway because I got 2 free donut Monopoly tickets. And I know he likes the jelly-filled donut, so I snatched the last one there. But I told you about waiting in line. We were the only ones without face masks while we were waiting in line. So this lady screeches up in the parking lot, and she's like waving at me, shaking the face mask around like she wanted to sell it to me. And I yelled at her. I said, "I already got one in my car. I got one at home. And I only use it for work, and I'm not using it for going in the grocery store until it's actually this new ordinance is being enforced on Wednesday." So she kind of nodded her head, this Chinese lady. I don't know what these sheeple are doing, but obviously they're trying to make a quick buck off the coronavirus, which is not a bad thing, but it's kind of annoying, irritating. And that's about all I have to say about the coronavirus. Now I got Critters, 1986. That should be pretty good. The Spy Who Came In From the Cold, 1965. Richard Burton. I'm a big Richard Burton fan. And then I got My Best Friend's Wedding, a PG-13 Julia Roberts movie from 1997. That's going to be a 1 or 2 stars. Netflix is predicting 3 stars, so it must be a pretty good romantic kind of movie, I guess. I was not a big fan of Julia Roberts during the 90s. My former roommate from college, he liked Pretty Woman with the salt and pepper actor. What's his name? But it's got Emmet Walsh, so I've got to torture myself and get through it. For the romantic comedy, which is one of my least favorite genres, needless to say. Try to get through Daddy-O and whatever other American International Pictures AIP that I can find, preferably on MST3K, so I can review some more movie shorts. But sorry to keep rambling. I know I've been going on for 25 minutes, and I'd be surprised if anybody sits through the whole video, but I had to get through all that. I was really grateful that one of the good things about the coronavirus is that my dream girl keeps sending us text messages, and
Because she's in quarantine and she's so bored.
yeah, I was thinking that too. She must be bored because she never did that before. Now all of a sudden she's like old times when he was a baby. She'd be on Google Hangouts all day long. And I told her, why can't I just get a time machine and go back in time to when you were 18 or something? I didn't get a response back, but I kept haranguing her about like accepting my hand, my humble hand in marriage, and all this stuff, which she probably ignored. She was more interested in the Dollar Vigilante YouTube channel, which is pretty cool. She said she's been following the Dollar Vigilante guy ever since day one. So that's pretty impressive. That's one of the things that I admire. One of the many things that I admire about her. And my son even went to Ramsey's Paul video about the empty hospitals and the nurses doing their big booty dance.
Put pillows between her butt cheeks and just started shaking as it.
That was pretty amusing. I didn't expect my son to watch that. That was impressive too. He gets a gold star. And that's about it. I think I'm going to heat up his leftover chicken here. The chicken thighs that I so delicately cut up for him. I even burned my fingers trying to cut up these chicken thighs. But I'm going to reheat this, pour some salt and some Tabasco on it to give it a little bang. And maybe I'll cook some more chicken breasts for him around 5:30. Maybe take a little nappy poo. See what time I wake up. Probably 20 minutes because the red line will kick in. But yeah, now I'm going up over 30 minutes. So I'll let you go. Have a good day. And not a good film. I disliked it. So don't check it out. Don't even bother. I put a lot of the actors' names in the description box. One guy from across 110th Street. And another television star in there. A bunch of other actors. Mentioned Bernadette Peters, Jackie Mason, Steve Martin. Those are Emmet Walsh. Those are the main four, I think. Recognizable faces in this one. So I did put that in the description box. I'm not posting the trailer or the movie in the description box. Forget it. This is definitely a lamestream movie that gets way too much overrated reviews and unfunny. So that's it. Laters.